Hi guys, welcome to the Sunday slot. This is a slot I've put in place in order to show people, and people in our community really have done exceptional things and have gone through exceptional times, and they've come out the other end, on the winning end. That's what it is. And this is really fundamentally to show people that anybody else can do this as well, and you can do this as well too. So today we've got Grant and we've got Rachel on the show. Now, Grant in a year has lost 10 stone. Would you believe that? Rachel, 4 stone. It's amazing when you think about it. Within a year of trying times and the way things have gone so far, you would think it would be, more difficult to do this. But these guys have gone beyond the realms of exceptional, I suppose, and they've actually done something wonderful. So I'm going to bring Grant and I'm going to bring Rachel on the show and to talk themselves about their journey, who they are, where they're from, and everyone else. So good morning, Rachel and Grant. How are you?
Hello.
Yeah, we're fine, thank you. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
We've got a slight delay, so don't worry about that. So let's start off. Tell me all about you guys. Who are you? Where are you from? I mean, you've told me some exciting things, Rachel, about your past as well, and Grant as well. So, Rachel, do you want to start off?
Yeah. Well, I come from Buckinghamshire, down in Englandshire, and I moved up about 10 years ago? Yeah, 10 years ago. I met Grant on a singles holiday and we first met at Heathrow at the airport, and it's gone on since then, hasn't it? Yeah. So
when you say you met him at the airport, how did that happen?
Well, I didn't know how to work the check-in machine. It was self-check-in, and Rachel was getting shown by somebody, so I just sort of peeked over her shoulder and watched.
Yeah.
And it sort of went from there.
You guys said that it was originally a singles holiday, I think.
Yeah, it was not like a singles holiday as in for dating. It was just like a package holiday for single travellers.
Yeah.
And it was like a safari in Kenya, so we met before we even got on the plane.
That's amazing. And the rest is history.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and we're still in contact with some people that were on that same holiday.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Amazing. Yeah. So tell me a bit about your background. Rachel, you tell me some exciting things about Walt Disney and that. So where did you grow up? Where was your education? What things have you done so far? Your journey.
Oh my word! It's been quite a few things. When I was down south, I was one of the puppy trainers in 101 Dalmatians.
Wow.
I used to own Dalmatians when I was down south. One of them was on the National Lottery, the 101st of the National Lottery. I've been on Blue Peter. Yeah, doing I do dog agility.
I'm a Raven fan straight away.
And I've got my Blue Peter badge somewhere. Yeah. And I've been on Concorde. That was exciting. Ran the British Air.
Yeah. You left London and came back to London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the same day that it was Live Aid. That was on the same day.
Wow. I'm just going to say good morning. Good morning, Tom. How are you? Thanks for watching. Tom's got a couple of questions. We'll come to them in a minute about, did you go low carb and what about sugar and that. But Grant, let me talk about yourself. I mean, Grant, you're a local lad, really.
Yeah, I was born in Dundee, lived in Fife for the first 20 years of my life and been in the area ever since. Never moved more than 20 miles away.
So what primary school was it you went to?
Ceres Primary and then Bill Baxter High.
Ah, right, okay. So what years were that then? What years did you go?
Ceres was sort of 75 to 81. And then 81 and I left in 88 to Bill Baxter.
Okay. And then what did you do after that then? What did you get into?
I've been in, I do security systems and I've done that since I left school.
Yeah.
So that's, nothing as exciting as being in Hollywood movies or anything.
So let me talk about. So you're both basically from backgrounds which are, well, Rachel, I would say your background is a wee bit more extraordinary because of obviously what you've been involved in. But naturally, you're just a local lad, really, at the end of the day. So what made the fundamental difference? I mean, how did the weight come about, and where did it all come from? And then what made the decision for you to do something about it?
Well, I've always struggled since I was at school, really. When I was 14, I got a bad tackle in a game of football and it smashed my left knee. And I was in crutches for 6 months. And being 14-year-old, I was still eating the same amount of food, but not doing the running about as a normal 14-year-old would. And from then on, it's just basically been a roller coaster journey of my whole life. I wouldn't say, I mean, like nobody says, you don't wake up one morning fat and it just suddenly creeps on. And I know it sounds like a cliche, you don't really notice it creeping on until one day you're like, holy smoke, where did this come from? And it's not something you could say, oh God, I need to do something. It's just, there is like a switch that just suddenly went trip, and when you looked in the mirror one day and thought, nah, something needs to be done.
You know, that is that had enough moment. You've just had enough.
It's like very much, yeah. When you're looking in the wardrobe and out of the 100 things, there's only like the top 2 or 3 things actually still fit.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great friend, Martin Simpson. Martin is no longer with us because of his condition. But Martin was about 33 stone, and Martin was absolutely fantastic. But he would literally fall asleep in front of his desk because he wasn't able to maintain his body weight basically, and he constantly perspired as a result of that. And he desperately wanted to do something about it, but he kept saying he could never pass a takeaway without actually getting something. I mean, that was his biggest challenge. You know, is that something you relate to, or?
Definitely. I mean, obviously, I've got to this age in life, and I could have done something about it before. But you've got to be in the right place up here as well. Just wanting to do something about it isn't always the be all and end all. You need to be able to be in the right frame of mind. You need to be in the right place. Everything needs to come together in one. Sure enough, you could go for 6 days eating perfectly fine, and then come a Saturday night and you see a takeaway and you think, oh, I'll just have that. One won't hurt, but then that one doesn't lead to one. That one leads to another 7. That leads to another 14, and then you think, well, I had 6 good days, so let's have a treat. And
yeah,
you sort of.
I kind of relate to it myself. I mean, when I was a lot younger, I had a high metabolism, and I was eating big, massive pizzas, and I was probably going into a Chinese right at the back end. You know, and because I had a high metabolism, I had no bother. But now I've got no choice. I have to run. I have to swim, I have to cycle, I have to do something, or literally, I've had it.
Yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've gradually put on weight, and then it come to a time that I've got to do something. And Grant started at Slimming World, and then I started a few weeks later, and we've really sort of helped each other out with that. And we're going out more, well, sort of like doing more walking and getting fit and that. And it's really helped. It really has, because we're sort of like bouncing off of each other and sort of helping out. And Grant's the cook. He does all the cooking. It's pretty good, actually. Yeah. So
we'll come back to that. And when we were talking about backstage, you were saying that there came a fundamental shift in your mind, but you thought, I've got to do something about it. You know, wasn't it a crisis?
There was like a family health issue unrelated to myself, but it made me realise where things could go, and it was basically like a light switch moment. It was about 3 weeks before we were going on holiday, and Rachael was like, well, why don't you wait till we come back from holiday? And I'm like, no, the head's there now, I've got to start now. Because and it was, I mean, I know it sounds very cliched and everything, but it was like just a light switch moment. It was like one night I was just lying in bed and I thought, that's it, tomorrow's a different day, tomorrow's a new start, tomorrow's changing. And
do you think it point became more fundamental?
I think it did. You couldn't. if somebody asked me to write down everything that happened that made me come to that decision, it would probably be a novel that nobody could finish in their lifetime. And there's just so many things all came together at the one point, and again, cliched, it was just like a light switch moment. It just changed there and then, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that was what, going on for 15, 16 months ago, and I've never changed. The switch is still in. At the moment, it might change tomorrow. At the moment, the switch is still in the right place.
So how did you start your journey then? I mean, I know you made one decision, but then from that decision, what did you do next?
Well, that's when I had tried other slimming options in the past, and I suppose I found many ways that failed for me, but I know they get quite a bit of panning, but Slimming World seems to have been the one that's worked well for me, because you're not depriving yourself of anything. It's just making sure you're eating the right things at the right times, and as Rachael says, we now cook rather than buying takeaway, or rather than buying ready-made meals. Around, I'd say 95% of what we have is cooked from scratch, even down to just like making oats for breakfast, and rather than when going to work, rather than buying lunches, I'm preparing stuff on a Sunday to take for the rest of the week. So that come like a Tuesday morning, rather than saying, "Oh, I've not got enough time to cook, I'll just buy something." No, you've got something there in the fridge ready just to pick up on the way out the door. And as well as doing that, it's saving a fortune in cash as well, rather than buying out lunches.
It's a common misconception where a lot of people think TV dinners saves them an absolute fortune, but in actual fact, cooking from scratch is a lot more cost effective.
Yeah.
And it's
And you know everything.
And you know exactly what's in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we bumped into each other a couple of years back at Parkrun, didn't we?
Yeah, indeed. That was it.
And I was just amazed at your attitude towards things, and the fact that you got out your comfort zone and actually gone and done something about it. Because I know when I first started running, I mean, I was okay, but I still felt really self-conscious about people looking at me.
Well, the first day I went to Parkrun, I've never felt so out of my depth in my whole life. But I turned up, and like you say, there's people there in lycra, there's people there in their shorts, and I turned up in a duffel coat and my heavy walking boots and a pair of jeans, and I'm like that. But from minute one, the people there made you feel so welcome. And they know the one that we go to St Andrews at Craigton, it's 3 laps, and the amount of people that were coming around and lapping me and saying well done and patting you on the back when they were passing you was it was inspiring to me, and it made me want to go back and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, there's one out morning John and being far too long.
Yeah.
I mean, Parkrun is a fantastic camaraderie, isn't it?
Yeah, I've now got myself in with the sticks. I think I've got my 50 t-shirt and my volunteer 25 t-shirt and everything as well. So
it's brilliant. When I said I was going to have you on the show, the outpouring from the community was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, everybody thinks you're absolutely wonderful, and you're a real genuine guy, and you're fantastic. I mean, if you're like me, you don't see yourself as that. You just think, well, that's normal.
You can't. I mean, if I tried to be something I'm not, it's dead obvious. So what you get is what you see. What you see is what you get. That's me.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at some of these pictures, and when I showed you them prior, I mean, that's where you were originally, wasn't it?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
I mean,
that's a part of
when we were taking them. I mean, what was that? What weight were you?
That was the wrong side of 30 stone there.
Wow. And how did you? I take it you must have felt really uncomfortable there.
Again, it's one of these things. I thought I'm going out there to do it. And there wasn't. I didn't. Looking at that picture now, it's hard to change, but that's not what I saw in the mirror. You didn't think you were that size. You didn't realise you were that size. But then when you see the picture, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Within my head, I wasn't that size.
I mean, and then we've got the before and after now as well. I mean, that's when you radically change.
they were taken 11 months apart, these two shots.
I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, you know, Rachel, you look like a young woman. It's a huge change. You look like you're in your late 30s or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, no, there's a lot of difference there.
Yeah.
There really is. And my health is so much better, you know, and I can do a lot more than I used to. Yeah. So, and we still got Ruff. Yeah, there's Ruffy and Max. Yeah, we try and do a bit of Canny Cross as well. We tried to, didn't we, when it was on? And that's sort of like helped us, hasn't it? Yeah.
Nothing worse than having to pose.
This was for the Evening Standard, wasn't it?
The Evening Telegraph.
The Evening Telegraph, yeah. And there as well. I mean, that's remarkable. A huge fundamental difference.
Yeah.
And then who's this?
Oh, that's Ruff. Yeah,
Sleeping over there.
Yeah, it's Ruffy's birthday today. And that's his sister. That's Molly.
I mean, it's my favourite dog. It's basically a collie. I love collies, and I think I identify the collies most with hyperactive, and that tends to be me.
All right, there he is. That's right.
And it's his birthday today.
Yeah, he's 9 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And have you always had collies then?
I have, yeah, because I'm a farmer's daughter, so of course we had collies when I was on the farm. Yeah, and obviously I had Dalmatians as well, so yeah. But I love dogs.
Tom's got a question here. He did say, did you go low carb? Was that a strategy that you used? And another one he said was what about sugar?
The low carb thing, we didn't really go anywhere other than cutting out bits of everything. Just following fresh ingredients, a lot more fruit and veg, like ditching the chocolate and having fruit, rather than filling your plate full of the portions. A lot more veg on it just to fill you up and things like that. There wasn't a strategy to cut out carbs. It might have happened with what we were doing, but there wasn't a strategy to do it.
Yeah.
Sugar and things like, I mean, I was never a big sugar thing other than coffee and tea, and I've even changed down to that. Like I used to be coffee with sugar or 3 sugars and milk, where now it's just jet black with no sugar. Cut down things, definitely cut down on the salt. I found that helps. It makes you taste your food a lot better and you enjoy it a lot more. So there hasn't been a strategy to cut down on specific things or anything. It's just been a general cut back. Follow, again, I'll say it, there's following recipes in the Slimming World stuff. I've got a lot of their books for their recipes and just do it that way.
And it is a simple. I mean, I've been on Slimming World years ago. Weight Watchers.
Yeah.
The Weight Watchers was designed to, I think it was 300 calories for your breakfast, 400 for your lunch, and 600 for your tea.
The thing that I like about Slimming World is there isn't really any counting involved. You don't count calories, you don't count anything. It's just there's a load of stuff that they call free food that you can have what you want of that. There is stuff you have to measure, and they call it sin in it, and it's better to say that way than rather than having to go, oh no, I've had my 200 calories, I can't have any more. Like for my breakfast, I always have eggs, and they're on the free. So if you fancy 3 eggs one morning or you fancy 5 eggs one morning, you don't have to. That's still included. You don't have to suddenly think, oh no, I've had my 3 eggs, or anything like that. Because like yourself, I did other slimming groups. One of them was Scottish Slimmers, but they're no longer around now. But I didn't. I always felt hungry doing that one, and I never feel hungry with the Slimming World one. There's always something that you can have, like a snack that you can include. There's always, like, even just down to things like having a bit of cold meat out the fridge, a bit of boiled ham if you're feeling a bit.
What about cheese?
You can have that as long as you have the low fat stuff and you count it as sins. Or you can have the full fat stuff, you just like less of it.
The ones that are so addictive are refined sugar and cheese.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I really struggle to keep away from them. It's so often when you just start a chocolate bar, it's like, I'll just eat the whole lot.
Yeah, well, see, I'm the opposite. I've never really had a sweet tooth. It's all savoury stuff. If you took me to any bakers and said you can have 5 things free, it would always be the savouries.
Yeah. So I take it, Rachel, you might be sweet tooth.
Oh yes, I love my sweets and my chocolate and that. So I found that really quite difficult. But with Slimming World, you can still have that, but in moderation. So you're not actually not having anything that you want. You know, you can still have things, but just not as much of it. So it's more of a treat, and you can sin things. Yeah.
So if you were going to give any advice what sort of advice would you give them?
Well, there's no such thing as failure. That's what I would say. You can have good days, you can have bad days, but it's still a day. Don't beat up yourself when you have a bad day. I mean, although I've lost all this weight, there's weeks I've put on. There's weeks I've put on weight again. The secret is not to go, oh no, that's me, cocked this up, that's it, God. Just you put it behind yourself and you think, right, move on. Don't beat yourself up about things.
And also writing things down, that helps, because you don't realise, oh, I had a chocolate bar, you know, but if you write it down, then it helps you realise what you've been eating that day. That we found that good, didn't we? Yeah. So that sort of helps. And
also the exercise is good for you.
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot more walking. I've been doing the couch to 5k this last few weeks.
Okay, so what kind of walking do you do? You just go out and walk generally, or do you set your routine in the day, or do you just feel like that?
There's no, other than with the couch to 5k, which is every second day or 2-3 times a week. There's no set benefit. We don't go out thinking, right, we'll walk to the end of the road and back, or we don't walk out thinking, oh, we'll go out and do 2 miles, or we'll just go out, and if it gets to a point where you think, right, that's far enough, you just turn around and come back.
We're actually going out for a walk after this.
So, do you have a goal in mind of where you want to get to?
Well, Rachael's reached her target weight, so
yeah.
My goal is just to keep the switch in the right place at the moment. I've still got a fair bit to go, obviously, but at the moment my head's still in the right place. I don't believe in setting myself a final target, because that might be, oh, that's too far in the future. My next target is next week when I weigh in again, just to see if I've lost. Then after that it'll be the following week. Then after that it'll be the following week. I don't look too far ahead.
So it is incremental improvements which compound over time.
Yeah. There's no point in, like, I mean, at the start of it, when I was the wrong side of 30 stone, there's no point in saying I want to be 12 stone. Because that's like miles ahead, and that's like unachievable in your head at that point. So say to yourself, okay, you're the wrong side of 30 stone. By 6 weeks from now, get the right side of 30 stone. Right, you've done that. 6 weeks from then, get into 29 stone. And then when you've done that, set the next target. Don't look ahead too much.
It's almost like some of the hills, climbing. You get to the top of a summit, and then you realise there's another summit, and then you get to the top of that summit, and you realise there's another summit.
There's always going to be a summit somewhere.
Yeah, so your ultimate is just to keep going until you feel comfortable within yourself.
Yeah, definitely at the moment it's keep going as long as the head switch is in the right place and I can keep going.
Yeah,
I've not set an ultimate goal other than one day I might.
Yeah, there's Gary coming in. Gary says, the PB will be smashed when we get back.
Well, that's the only reason I'm doing all this.
Fantastic.
There's nothing better than getting the text through saying you got your PB the day.
It's brilliant. It's the camaraderie with Parkrun. It's absolutely fantastic. You know, I love it. So can you still join Slimming World even during the pandemic then?
Yep, well, they've still been doing it, what they've been doing up until the last few weeks during the main lockdown last year, it was on, you weighed yourself, you sent in your things, and there was like a Zoom meeting every Thursday. You can still join it now. When the lockdown was released slightly, you still went in, you got weighed at the group, but you just left, and then again it was an online Zoom meeting later on. And because of this, just the last few weeks, because of the lockdown coming back in again, it's all online again. But you can still join it, you still get the support. The Zoom meeting, there's like the one that we're in, which is the Hardler group. On Thursday night, there's about anything upwards of 20 people on the Zoom meeting, all giving each other advice, all getting support from the group leader, which is Geneva. She's been there from the start. She's been, and it's all really supportive because there's the Facebook group and everything. So like people post what recipes they've done, what's good, how they're getting on, that sort of thing. And it's inevitable. Knowing that somebody at the end of the week is going to see what you've done that week or how well you've got on that week is also a good motivator to keep the head in gear.
It's really, and it's someone like yourself, it keeps you moving forward.
Yeah. And especially now it's been in the paper.
So Julie asks, so where is it about? Is there a website for it, or is, how could they find out? I mean, I've got it here. I've got a wee flyer here that sits through the door. It says slimmingworld.co.uk. So is that where they would go?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And then you can look up and it'll say where your nearest one is. So if you put your postcode in, it'll say, that's it. Yeah.
Because on the back of here it says Cooper is Anne, so she's in the Cooper area at the Cooper Golf Club. Charlotte is at the Cosmos Community Centre in St Andrews, and then Charlotte again is at the Legends at Anstruther as well. So that seems to be the people in the area for the Slimming World. But ultimately, you're absolutely right. You just go on the website slimmingworld.co.uk, and then they'll be able to tell you from there who your local agent is and who to contact.
From day one, we were always made to feel really welcome. There's no shaming, there's no anything about it, and it's just, even if you put on weight, you've had a bad week, you've put on weight, doesn't get mentioned, nobody goes off on you, you don't get moaned at, it's just okay, right? And if you're having that for 2 or 3 weeks, like what happened with us a couple of times, the consultant will get in touch with you privately to see how it's going, make sure you're feeling all right, find out what's caused it. If it's something like you've maybe using the wrong type of milk and you've not realised, you're thinking it's like a low-fat milk and it's a full-fat milk or anything like that, they'll take a look at what you're actually been having and advise you how to get back on track or basically give you the support. It's also emotional support from the group as well, as much as
there's a lot of labels out there that automatically make you think they're diet products or they're low carb or low calorie, and in actual fact they're nothing like that at all.
There's a lot of things I maybe say low fat, but to get round the low fat flavour, they've boosted it with a ton of sugar. And the sugar immediately goes straight onto the waistline it converts the fat straight away, doesn't it? Yeah.
And that's where your consultants and that's where people like yourself have gone through that process. So you completely understand that and you're able to help someone else.
Yeah.
So that's the journey really, from start to finish. So slimmingworld.co.uk is the place to go to for anybody that's wanting help. You can message us direct here. We'll get you in touch with Grant as well and Rachel as well. More than happy to do that. You guys will be more than happy to help anybody if that's possible. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I've got to take my hat off to you. I mean, to lose 10 stone in a year is a remarkable feat. And yourself, Rachel, as well, to lose 4 stone. I mean, I know how difficult it is because I've been through this process with my wife several times. And it's not easy. It's not easy to do at all, but it definitely is. If you have people on your side that will actually help you through the process, and you guys have been invaluable in giving your advice and what it's done for you and how you've overcome it. So I want to thank you for coming on the show today, and thank you very much, and thank everybody for watching. Thanks to Julie, to Gary, to Tom. Thanks guys for watching, and I'm sure if anybody else is watching this later on, more than happy to take questions later on, and Grant will be on there as well to answer them as well. And so thanks very much, Grant and Rachel, for coming on the show, and really appreciate you taking the time out, And happy birthday to Ruffy. And have a fantastic walk today as well. And bye everyone for today. And we'll see you next week on next week's Sunday Slot.